friends, and welcome to another episode of Sound Off with System One. I am your host, Karen Callahan, here with Matt Ruby and Jake Kavanaugh from our Tampa office to talk about the nuts and bolts of salary negotiations. So thank you both for being here. System One is a leading provider of specialized, highly technical outsourced services and workforce solutions to critical infrastructure, technology, life sciences, and government sectors, putting more than 650 employees and 9,000 consultants to work in the US, Canada, and the United Kingdom daily. So please, while you are joining the broadcast, drop us a note in the comment section. Let us know where you're joining us from and what industry you are in. We have Rich and Allie moderating the comments, dropping all of our contact information in there as well. Feel free to connect with all of us, and most of all, please be a part of the conversation. If you have a question for our experts, or if you have additional insights, drop it in the comments, and it just might appear on the broadcast, and we will respond live. So that being said, it is time for introductions. Before my panel introduces themselves and lets us know what hot jobs they have available, I'm interested in knowing from our panel, what was your first job ever? And I'm talking high school or college. So I'm going to go first. My first job, I was 15 and I worked at the Sawgrass Mills Mall in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And it was a franchise that just opened. It was a married couple opened Taco John's. And I was the cashier, 15-year-old Karen. And do you know, in the mall, sometimes things get slow in the food court and your manager tells you, let's go out and do samples. So we had some product that was called potato ole, which is a fancy word for tater tots. So when my manager told me to go out and do samples, I'd go out and say, would you like a tater tot? I was called into the office immediately after about 15 minutes of doing that. And he said, Karen, the product is potato olays. You have to call them potato olays. I'm like, I got it. So I'd go back out again. Couldn't do it. Tater tots. Karen, back in the office. Long story short, after 3 or 4 times, the word insubordination started circling around. And I ended up getting a job at the Great American Cookie Company in the food court down, which is great because I would trade with Haagen-Dazs. Cookies for ice cream. Best job ever in high school. High school, I was the biggest mall rat, but I made money. That's all that mattered. So, Matt, you are up. Let us know the first job you ever had. And after that, you can go ahead and tell the hot job that you have for our audience.
Thanks, Karen. Matt Ruby joining from the Tampa office. Obviously, Jake and I are both in the Tampa office. Been with System One coming up. Actually, next month will be 4 years. It's gone very, very quickly, which is good. Oversee IT operations for Florida and beyond. First job, 14 years old, in a town in New Jersey. Really, the only place we could work that young was at a golf course. So we carried golf bags and caddied. And if you've watched the movie Caddyshack, it's pretty close to that. A lot of the banter and the things that happen in the caddy yard are pretty funny, but it meant early mornings, which is not always easy when you're 14, but it was, cash in your pocket at the end of every day. It was outside, you're interacting with people. So it was a good first job for me.
Did you get good tips?
Yeah, you make really good money. Now this is in the early 90s, so I'm sure they make a lot more, but money was great. I mean, it was really nice. So, but segue from that into our next job. It's not a caddy. We're not looking for a caddy. Our next job is actually for a Fortune 500 company, an executive IT support analyst. The company's based in Tampa. This job is on site 5 days a week. And the reason for that is there are 16 executives that are in the Tampa office every day, or up to 16. And this person will be responsible for their connectivity to the network, to their customers, to their cell phones, data, all of the above. So lots of experience with customer service previously would be ideal. Interactions with executive level employees also is a nice to have. And then being able to install and configure and troubleshoot hardware and software connectivity, calm under pressure. A lot of times when these people are calling, there's something that needs to get done quickly. So being able to respond to that effectively is ideal. This is a long-term contract. There is no timeline on it. It is an ongoing contract is what they told us. They've had people on this team over 5 years. So just from a longevity, but also stability, it's there. So excited to bring that. We just qualified this yesterday. So excited to bring it to live today.
Thank you so much, Matt. The job description can be found in the QR code over here, as well as it's being dropped in the comments section. So job ID, you can go to jobs.system1.com and see the executive IT support analyst position that Matt has been touting today. And please, if connect with Matt, and if it's not you, but it's somebody that you know, go ahead and have them reach out to Matt after or during this broadcast. Jake, it is your turn. First job, and then the hot job that you have for everybody here.
Yeah, happy Thursday, everybody. My name is Jake Kavanaugh. As Matt said, I sit here in the Tampa office as well. I'm a senior recruiter specifically for engineering and construction management. My first job was actually a summer job throughout college. I was working for a sprinkler part sales and distribution business, essentially working in a giant warehouse, pulling different parts and orders, doing some customer sales and customer facing, driving out to different job sites, delivering different parts, helping out with installations or even service repairs. A lot of early mornings, a lot of long hours, but definitely taught me a work ethic and allowed me to kind of pay for myself through college. As far as my hot job goes, I am looking for a licensed professional engineer in Austin, Texas. Our client is a mid-sized MEP consulting firm. They specialize in the planning and design services and construction management, or construction administration, I should say, specifically for commercial construction. A couple of different markets that they're involved in, including healthcare, K through 12, higher education, aviation, and a lot of life sciences and tech jobs as well. As far as what they're looking for this person is going to be heavily involved in the design of power, lighting, and fire alarm distribution systems for commercial buildings, a lot of circuit and load flow analysis and load calculations, as well as a QA and QC design aspect. As far as construction administration goes, review of RFIs, change orders, submittals, and working alongside the project manager to ensure that everything stays on schedule and within cost as well.
Excellent. Jake's job can be found down there on the QR code over here, and also in the comments section, jobs.system1.com. Again, if you or somebody you know are interested in that hot job, please connect with Jake directly. So thank you very much. All right, all that being said, it is time for the topic at hand. So nuts and bolts, salary negotiations. We get it. Talking about money makes people uncomfortable, but let's face it, negotiating for your salary is important because it allows you to advocate for yourself and ensure that you're compensated fairly and at a higher salary, and higher salary and additional benefits can make a significant difference in your financial well-being. So when I was researching this topic earlier, I saw that there was a study done by a woman named Linda Babcock for a book called Women Don't Ask, and it revealed that most people who negotiate for a salary, were able to increase their salary by over 7%. So if you do the math on that, let's say you just accept a salary for $100,000 a year. Those who would negotiate and get a salary of $107,000 on average. So assuming that you and this other person are treated identically, equitably, everything being equal, same raises, same promotions, you'd have to work 8 years longer to be as wealthy as them at retirement. And that's a wowza moment for me. So that's why today's topic is extremely important. So Matt, let's start with you. What tips do you have for our viewers when it comes to salary negotiations?
Thank you. Yeah. So I think the first thing to remember is it is a negotiation. It's not just the company giving you a number and that's all. They also know it's easy for them if you don't negotiate. But to your point, if you do, it's going to be better for you and solidify that partnership. But basically know your value. I know we've seen a lot of turnover over the last 6 months in IT specifically. That's what I can speak to. Jake can speak maybe to the engineering side, but we've had some layoffs. Significant companies have been laying off people. So current salary, if you've been in the market the last year or two, you kind of know what that number might be, but definitely do your homework. But for those that haven't, maybe been at a place 5, 6, 7 years, your salary probably doesn't show, or it's definitely under probably those that are getting paid today. So make sure you get active data and information. You might be 20 grand under. So don't judge your increase off of just what you're currently making. Go off of what the current market is. It might be a significant increase. We've seen that a couple of times already this year personally. And then organize your thoughts. I think having all this information, talking to a recruiter, putting it on paper, rehearsing it helps you when the time comes, because it is uncomfortable. And you want to make sure you have things in front of you under pressure. A lot of times you can lock up. So just start with that, and I'll let Jake, we'll kind of go back and forth here, I'm sure, but let Jake add to some of the things I said.
Yeah, just to kind of touch on what Matt was saying in reference to the construction and engineering world. Quite the opposite from IT. There hasn't been a lot of layoffs. If anything, there's a shortage of qualified candidates out there that companies are looking for, which directly relates to the competitiveness of the market for construction professionals. Like Matt said, the best thing that you could do to prepare yourself is to do some market research, especially based on your location, your years of experience, your job title. Those are all things to take into consideration when trying to figure out what your value is if you're a job seeker. There's websites out there such as ZipRecruiter, there's salary.com, there's Glassdoor, all different tools that could help you to identify what your market value is and what your expectation should be as far as salary goes. Aside from salary, it's also super important to take the entire compensation package under consideration, not just the money. There's different things such as benefits or PTO or bonus structure, all different sorts of things that could go into a compensation package along with base salary, which is obviously important. But the whole package collectively is what you should be thinking about if you're going into a negotiation for a compensation increase or update or whatever it may be.
Exactly. Jake, you hit on a few great points. There was a lot of points over there, actually. So number one is be familiar with industry and salary trends, which you rattled out. You named a lot of websites that people can go to, Indeed, LinkedIn, salary.com, etc. And definitely factor in perks and benefits. Did you want to expand on any of that, Matt?
Yeah, I think that was based on a question from Deborah.
Yes.
That we got. So yeah, so I think it's important not only to get the data from updated sites. We actually, as recruiters, have, unlimited resources with LinkedIn Recruiter. All of our, CRM tools that we pay for as a company. So that's where I would also go and talk to a recruiter. Usually our consultants, at least in IT, have 2 or 3 that they trust, that they go to when they need an opportunity or just want information. Or even I've had them role play this salary conversation with me. How do I handle it when I go into the meeting and sit down if it's in person, or prep for the call? But Deborah, there's so many opportunities for you to connect with recruiters to help with that data, to offset or to just echo what you're finding online as well.
Exactly. Jake, you had touched upon perks and benefits. So can you just explain a little bit further what that would look like? Because again, if someone's expecting a certain salary, but they're not receiving health benefits and bonuses and maybe a guaranteed annual raise based on performance of the company, can you maybe expand a little bit more on that?
Yeah, sure. So like I was saying, base salary is important, but it's not everything. It's important to take things like benefits and PTO under consideration along with the base salary, because it all depends on what specifically you're looking for. If you're in a situation where you're making X base salary, but you're getting 4 weeks of PTO, and the job that you're interviewing for is only offering you 3 weeks of PTO, then you're probably going to want to offset that by going for a higher base salary or something of that sort. Same thing with benefits. Benefits cost vary based on the company that you're with or the job that you have. If you're moving into a position where the benefits are going to cost you more out of pocket on a monthly basis, you're probably going to want to go for a higher base salary to offset that as well.
Excellent. No, I agree. I've been there and I've done that. There was a lot of times when the salary question comes up, maybe it's maybe it comes from the employer asking you as as a candidate, what salary are you expecting? So you don't know what salary they're offering, but they're asking you straight up what you're expecting. What's a good way to answer that question?
Jake, do you want that one? Do you want me to take it?
All
right, I'll take it. So usually you'll see some sort of range. And I think that take that range to help kind of give you a good spot to start, but then also based on what you're currently making, I think is important. But again, to your point, Karen, and great to lead here is don't answer with a range, because typically when you go with a range, you're going to get the lower end of that. So I would also do based on the research and the salary that's posted on the job, or your conversation with the recruiter. Ideally, give a specific number. If it's 70,000 technically, or if it's 72, maybe go above it. I think Jake mentioned that even in our prep call. Maybe go a little bit above that, because negotiating down, you're still going to end up higher than that midpoint of that range. So I don't know if that answered the question, but I saw Trevor a little bit ago asked about starting wages, and Rich answered back quickly. But Trevor, the COLA or the annual increases, I mean, there aren't a lot of companies, at least, that do that all the time. I think it's probably probably around half, maybe 50-50. But typically we're talking about raises or adjustments based on new opportunities. So if you really want to maximize that, the average person that takes a new job, the average increase is 12%, where compared to that, to the average cost of living is 3 or 4%. Unfortunately, if you really want to maximize that, it's every 2 to 3 years is finding that new opportunity to maximize salary growth. But again, just data there from our reports.
Yeah, and we had a question regarding saying that just the perception is that talking about salary seems to scare some employers off. With your recruitment teams, do you find that that does scare off hiring managers, or is there a particular way to broach the subject when there seems to be timidness involved on either party?
So I'll speak to that one. I saw Jet's comment, and I see that he's a mechanical designer, so that definitely falls kind of within my wheelhouse. Speaking to your question specifically, may you have to reevaluate. It's tough to say, not knowing the specifics of your entire situation, whether it's money or whether it's the current employer that you have. They might be giving you an unbelievable compensation package. I think it all goes back towards doing that market research. Depending on your location, how much experience you have, exactly what that experience entails, what industry you're working in within mechanical design. Those are all things that could play a factor within trying to evaluate your current compensation package versus what the market is currently offering. I'd be happy to connect with you and possibly set up a conversation to kind of go into the depths and the details of what that might look like. So shoot me a connection. I'd be happy to kind of dive further into that with you.
Excellent. All right. I don't know if you have any more questions. Is there anything else that either of you would like to add? Any points that we've missed in this conversation?
I think it's never fully comfortable, even for us. I've been doing this for 15 years, placed over, I think, over 1,000 people in that period of time. It's always uncomfortable, but it's one of those conversations you just have to have, because at the end of the day, you have family, or you have goals you want to achieve, things you want to aspire to. So you just have to have that willingness to get into that conversation. And usually on the out, when you're done, it's like, oh, that wasn't that bad. So anyway, hopefully this stuff is.
Yeah, and I could just kind of piggyback off of that with Matt, with what Matt just said. I think an important word to keep in mind when going into a compensation negotiation is confidence. You need to understand what your worth is and be confident that you are worth that amount. Going into negotiations, it's easy to be nervous or scared or whatever the word might be. But as long as you have the facts and the research and the understanding of, why you're asking for what you're asking for, you'll be just fine. Confidence is everything in a conversation like that.
That's a great way to close this conversation. If I can speak today, conversation, confidence. Yes, it's a great way to close that. And people need to remember that you are worth it. So that, my friends, actually wraps up today's broadcast. So thank you both, Jake and Matt, for attending today. Thank you very much. I know your time is valuable, and I really appreciate, and our viewers appreciate you coming out here to talk about this.
You got it.
Thank you.
Yay. Okay, so in the meantime, as a reminder, follow us on LinkedIn and YouTube. All of our episodes of Sign Off with System 1 can be found on our YouTube channel, along with videos that contain expert career and job search tips, hiring manager best practices, leadership insights, and more. We have tons of videos here with even the recruiters that you found here today on our live broadcast, giving other expert career advice. Again, don't forget to connect with them on LinkedIn. So please join us next week. My co-host, Ali Moen, will be discussing with our expert panel of recruiters a very hot topic. It is very timely, unfortunately, but fortunately, because we have experts to talk about it, which is pivoting to a new role after a layoff. So please join us next week, 2 p.m. Eastern on LinkedIn and YouTube. We will see you guys then. So what?